Hello, everybody. What is meant by falling in love? We've heard that expression thrown around 1,000 times, especially in romantic movies and whatnot. And it is such an interesting euphemism. It's rarely dissected, it's usually just seen as a poetic expression. But does it mean something more than just a poetic expression? When we have heard or said ourselves, I'm falling in love, is there something here that can be examined? And I say there is. What are we falling from? What are we falling into? My answer is, initially anyway, is that we're falling from reality. We're falling into an emotional state. Think about it. In general, when someone says, dude, you got me, I fell for it, they don't mean that they fell for the truth, right? Rather, they fell for a lie. That's what they mean. They mean they were tricked. If they were tricked, what tricked them? Love, by its most noble definition, is patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, doesn't keep record of wrongs, love always trusts, that sort of thing. But is the most noble definition of love the correct one? Is it the definition that we experience in our lives? The answer is obviously no, it's not. We don't experience this noble definition of love. The confusion men have when talking about love is that there is a huge disconnect between this noble definition of love and the type of love we actually experience, especially with women. The reason there is a disconnect is aided by our own selfishness. Women need a little help from us if we are going to be fooled. Women will act and present themselves as sort of the embodiment of this noble definition of love. But that's sort of just the bait, right? Here's a quote I found online that illustrates how we men help women to trick us. Suppose a woman decides to make full use of her beautiful body in order to gain certain advantages from men. Now, the men who are drawn to her will not see what she stands to gain from them, as they will be too preoccupied with the pleasant prospect of all they expect to gain from her. As long as each has hope of gain, the illusion of sweetness and light is practically perfect. Each takes the other at face value and tactically agrees to overlook the secret maneuvering that is going on. In fact, we are so good at overlooking our own skullduggery that when something goes wrong, all we can see is the other person's part of the blame. When we get away with something, our very success proves us right, but when we fail, it's because that dirty so-and-so tricked us. Their injustice is immediately obvious to us, not so our own. I love that quote. I think it's very revealing. It's this preoccupation we men have of what we stand to gain from women that blinds us to everything we have to lose. The love that we actually experience in life is not of the noble variety. Rather, it is a give to get type of love. It is rooted in self-interest and selfish gain. I would grant you that occasionally there are glimpses of this noble kind of love, but it is fleeting, and it ultimately leads men into a trap. We might even argue that mothers show the noble definition of love to their children, but how many mothers are always patient? How many mothers are always kind? How many mothers never keep record of the wrongs that their children do? How many mothers are always under control emotionally? I would say none. Sometimes they are, you know. But by definition of this noble type of love, doesn't it follow that mothers only sometimes love their children? Women are incapable of this type of love, and so are men. It flies in the face of our nature to self-preserve and survive. We do come first in our own lives. Everyone. Our own interest is number one. What we can gain from others through giving to them, that comes second behind our own interests. I argue that the only love we are capable of is love that supports our own interests. So falling in love is to fall from our own self-interests and fall for the self-interests of someone else. Marrying another person based on this love is saying that I will serve your interests in hope that you are in love with me too, and that you will serve my interests. But is this possible? I don't think it is. Only one of the two in the relationship will be the servant. One will be the master. And in our society, it is usually the woman who is the master. There's an axiom that says, he who loves the least controls the relationship. But in our society, it should read, she who loves the least controls the relationship. Because she is the one who will control the relationship.